Hey, Dr. Mark Testa here. In today's video, I want to talk about healthy inflammation. I talk about it all the time because we forget inflammation is the body's first line of healing. And there's a healthy level of it that's important for natural healing of our body. Now, if you like health and wellness tips like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I share more of this on the regular, but let's look into this a little bit more. So, inflammation is the first step in the healing process. It's natural, it's normal, and it's supposed to happen. Now, inflammation is triggered by tissue damage, cell damage, infections, allergies, traumas, burns, cuts, frostbite, and the body then sends all kinds of different cells to the area. The red blood cell gets leaked out of the blood vessel. It releases certain chemicals. White blood cells leak out of the area as well and help control infection. Fibroblasts are called into the area to help create a scab and a structure to help stimulate healing of the area. So it's the first line of healing. Now, the signs and symptoms of inflammation are the four cardinal signs of inflammation: redness, swelling, pain, and heat. And so that's what we expect to happen. Now, when it gets out of control is when it's a problem, meaning when it becomes chronic inflammation. But acute inflammation can last anywhere from, a couple hours to a couple days and is a natural reaction to stimulate the body's response to injury and to stimulate healing. Now, chronic inflammation can last weeks and years and is very, very detrimental to the body to have these chronic inflammatory chemicals now really coming more out of the immune system and upregulating the immune system and start to become a burden on the body and are involved in the four diseases of aging: diabetes, heart disease, dementia, and arthritis. So we don't want inflammation to get out of control because that's a bad thing. That's called systemic inflammation. But the acute inflammation from a cut or from an ankle sprain, and yes, while it can swell, and I've seen some huge ankles, and you do need to get a little bit of that under control. But initially, we want to let the body do that. Now, I would recommend working with a healthcare provider who understands this, because I think in many cases, we give anti-inflammatory drugs to people too soon and for way too long, and it doesn't really benefit them in that it impairs and it blunts the healing process. This is known really well to cause damage and delayed healing with certain conditions like broken bones. So it's important to let the body do its natural healing ability. Again, when it gets out of control is when you want to avoid that. Now, there's a couple ways of measuring out of control inflammation. One is through a lab test you can get from your doctor called C-reactive protein, and he can measure that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about systemic inflammation and what you can do to control that. Now, there's also some things you can do to help more or less control acute inflammation. But rather than shutting it down completely, you're allowing it to do its thing without getting out of control. And some things have been shown in the literature, both in animals and in humans, to help this. And they're nutritional supplements. One is an herb called turmeric, and it comes from the Indian spice curcumin. And so it's very helpful in controlling this sort of thing, and it's been shown in animal studies and in human studies. And then also fish oil, high in EPA, has been shown again in human studies and in animal studies to help be beneficial with inflammation and healthy inflammation. And that's what we're trying to get here, is a system that responds like it's supposed to, but then backs off once it's done, and not turning into a chronic inflammatory reaction. So I think it's important to pay attention to acute inflammation. How much should you ice it after an injury? How soon should you get on an anti-inflammatory drug like ibuprofen, Motrin, Aleve, Celebrex? And then how long should you take it? Because we don't want it to impair our overall healing process. So I hope this is helpful. Please share it with a loved one or a friend and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense and is helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.